start breaking them down further because they have to be small enough to fit in the sprint. And pretty soon you built this, which is good if you're trying to write an algorithm. You're a computer science person because it's tree structure. If you're a product owner and you say, hey man, what do you think of your product? They're going to be like, I don't even know what that is. Because if you get them to really talk about the product, they would say, we have this cool idea, we think dude is going to buy it, and here's what he wants to do. And that's what I meant before. The context is the context often gets ripped up. And then worse, it's fed to developers like this. You built this, and it's out of context, and the thinking developer is going to say, I don't understand. Go ahead. So the question is, should the product owner maintain the context over the sprints? So I once worked with a guy named Dan Steves. He was able to keep context across sprints for 18 developers. He's the only person I ever met that could do that. A lot of the real product owners, first of all, they don't want to talk to you about Scrum and sprints. They want to talk to you about the products. And if you force words in their mouth, like story points and sprints, they start talking about Agile and stop talking about key products. And when you're around, when I'm around those kind of people, you can't help but get sucked in by the charisma. Because they'll be like, oh, it'd be really cool. And they're just all over here talking about examples. They can't help but give you examples. So I did a project for ING in the Netherlands. We were building this option management system. And I could give anything about an option management system. I just don't really care. But the guy that was in charge, the product owner, was this guy I called like the Dutch cowboy. Because he always wore these cowboy boots and he was really proud of his Harley. And he worked at the securities division for the Netherlands. And when he got up and told stories, man, it was exciting. And the developers would be like, they'd be kind of sitting at the table, listening to him. And then the business analyst would get up and start reading him use cases. And you could just watch people just kind of slowly check out. Because if you can get that person, then none of this stuff really matters. Because that inspiring person will be successful. A small team with someone who really has a product vision will only fail if you give them too much process.
So what word do you use instead of that?
So I like this idea of these story maps.
So that is
Yep. So thanks for bringing it back. Yeah. So the picture I was showing you, that group had gone through and said, there's 4 goals. Let's just say there's 3 goals for this persona, for this product. Now, one of the challenges I see with stories is people just write and write and write, and they don't know where to frame things. The old scoping discussion. So the way I use these tools in context of the map is to say, really, that person wants to do that in relationship to that charter, and these are really simple. So for a small project, this could be 30 minutes. This could be 30 minutes for all of these, and the story mapping might last, let's just say 60 minutes. So I'm not talking about returning to months and months, but there is some context. I finished a project, and one was recently released for Reuters. Reuters is a big international company. The product that we rewrote generates $5 billion of revenue a year. That's not something you just write the requirements for in a day. It takes a little bit more time. And sometimes we used agile techniques, other times we didn't. They actually went out and did interviews when they found out these didn't make sense. And it was very much descriptive, not prescriptive. How do we use these things as tools? Once you have an idea of what you're trying to accomplish, these goals, then we'll take one of them, and then this is kind of where the map starts. I was going to try and actually do an example right now and see, and this is going to be weird because you guys are all going to have to be the customer product people. Okay? Has anybody ever not bought something in a store? Okay, so you're all somewhat qualified. This is an example I use a lot because it's a simple example. So if we did a charter or an elevator pitch, we'd be writing a point of sale system to sell things at a cash register. And who works at the cash register? Yeah. So we kind of go through typically, and we might This is something I often do for personas. Kathy the cashier, and there might be followed by a very bad drawing by me. And then, without going into it too far, I'm not going to go through this, but I usually go through with groups and say, who is this person, and why would they buy your product? And right now, to what I was saying about the black swan, if you don't know this, feel free to start iterating, but you're probably going to write the code you're going to throw away or refactor 3 iterations from now. Because you don't know who your market is. And when I say this stuff, I feel like a marketer, and I get kind of scary, like I need to go shower or something like that. But it's still a good idea to understand who your market is. That's what I think these lean startup dudes have. They're talking that language. If we said, what's that? Yeah, I think so. Well, that's why it's neat that I think one of the hardcore guys, Eric Reese is the person I was talking about. He's the one who said, is this the Ken Beck in my session? So he's been an XP guy for 10 years now. So what are the cashier's goals? What are the things that they're trying to accomplish? Don't overthink these questions. Right? Yeah, or like sell stuff. If you said that to Kathy, Kathy's probably new. Kathy probably gets paid hourly. Kathy probably, if you asked her about her work, she would say, dude, it's just a job. And Kathy doesn't have a bad day and say, I better take the manual home and learn the system. When she's having a bad day, she's out of there at 5. She just wants to bail. Her goal is to not have you hassle her. And she values a system that's easy for her to sell stuff. Because she's probably not a geek. And she probably doesn't know a lot about technology, so when something goes wrong with the computer, she'll catch the world. And her worst nightmare is this screen. Error. It gets worse for her when she gets this. She melts down, calls her manager, or tries it again because it's a computer glitch. And when she tries it again, you get to stand there, and standing time in a retailer is just wasted money. Yeah.
Is this the persona creating phase?
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a little bit of context. Okay, so she sells stuff. What are other things she does? What's the first thing she does when she comes in the morning?
Logs in.
Right, so maybe logs in, or she doesn't open the place. That's what her manager does. But that's a really good. That's exactly why we use the personas, is to try and start getting some context about who does what. So she will just go old school and say she opens the register, and then what else does she do? Sell.
Put the money.
What's that?
Put the money inside the register.
Lots of money, so that's kind of part of this whole sales process. You mean at the end of her sales, she counts her money? Right, so she closes her register. And what else does she do? Sorry about my handwriting. As part of being left-handed, it's a recessive gene. What else does she do? What happens when you guys don't like what you buy? Right. So she takes, returns, and if one of you guys were the person that was wanting to write this piece of software because you thought you were going to sell it to a bunch of these retailers, you better be able to tell me these things pretty fast. These should come screaming out. And then when we get stuck here again, for me as a coach, this is a horrendous odor. Oh no, the smellometer just went off the top of the scale. We're in trouble. The people that are asking to build the app don't know who's going to buy it or what they want. If we said, so this would be affectionately called, we start building out a backbone. So we might end up with 10 of these things across. The guy I took this from, if you want to go read someone's blog, his name is Jeff. Pat, he has a really nice blog. Jeff calls this the backbone. And Jeff has a nice mantra that I use all the time, which is mile wide, inch deep. I usually kind of augment that with less talking, more writing. People are very scared when they're doing this stuff, and they get all jammed up trying to do it right. So there's a thing called Startup Camp every year in San Francisco. And this year the people who spoke are from Twitter, Facebook, and Zappos, and they all hear this over and over again. What we started with is not what we built. assume your ideas are somewhat flawed. Treat them like product hypotheses, and then they're not sacred. And you just, things are going to change. The myth in software is the only way things don't change is if nothing around you changes. Because if your plan is perfect and things change around you, you still have to adapt. Okay, so let's take this one, and we'll go down to the next level, below that of the backbone, try and figure out. So Kathy's standing at the register. You walk up, you have a bunch of stuff, you toss it down in front of her. What does she do? Scan stuff, then what? Scan. What's next? Somewhere over here she places it in the bag. I'm just going to move this up and make room. But what's the first thing that happens? Scan. So she takes payments. I actually should have wrote collect money because I usually try and write down exactly what people say because then I start learning their language. The worst thing we can do as a bunch of geeks is to jam our language in people's mouths. As soon as the product people start talking about Ajax, you're in trouble. Ajax should not, unless you're building like soap for the United States. Ajax is not part of that's not customer lingo. That's like geeks thing. And when I hear that, I'm like, who shoved Ajax in dude's mouth? Why is he doing that? Okay, so takes payment. Someone said prints a receipt, I think. Anything else you guys think happens in the basic path? You forgot a few things over here. Let me give you a hint. Most Cathys, at least in the United States, do not have the ability to make change. So addition and subtraction are challenging concepts. So someone's got to do like calculate the total first. Scan. She hits some button before she takes your payment where she hits a total button. If you were domain experts, you would have breezed through this faster than I could write it down. That's one of the biggest challenges I have with this mapping is when I get a product on a topic, I usually can't keep up with it. It's actually one of the reasons I went to using version 1 because they have this OK and new feature, and I can type that stuff as fast as people can talk. It just doesn't build a nice visualization like this. The version 1 guys are listening. Bring it to us. Okay. So if there's something that happens in between scanning and calculating total that Kathy doesn't do, that's integral to the process of selling things in every place except for South Dakota. The government gives no tax in South Dakota. No, there's federal tax, but there's no state tax. But Kathy doesn't hit a tax button. 30 years ago, she did. There used to be a tax button on a lot of registers because that's how they figured that stuff in. And even before that, cashiers had to know a lot of that stuff. But we tried to kind of take some of those processes out. So a lot of times, if it's a part of the system, but she doesn't do it, it's a part of the process, it's just like turn it sideways. So we might take a pass through like that, happy path, mile wide, inch deep, and then back up. And then I would say, okay, let's go down some of the variations. Because, what's that? Like discounts. So discounts, I might even kind of, if someone was saying some of this stuff, one of the things I think is real important is when product owner folks, real product players are talking, is to try and capture everything that comes up. So sometimes we'll have multiple people doing this. So discounts might not be part of a basic sales, so I'm going to put it over here, make sure that person knows I heard that, great, let's come back to it, and we can find it. In a basic sale, what happens when the scanner's broken?
Type in the code.
What's that?
Type in the code.
Type in code, usually called a SKU. So now we have like two things that are kind of similar, two ways to do the same thing. And then a lot of times we promote that and say, wow, that's the same idea. And so that product owner, that might be this notion of like adding an item. Because that would be more likely the language. And sometimes I'll just say, if you call those two the same thing, what would you say? And then trying to get them to kind of start surfacing that language, trying to drive that discussion. Now, you can see that if you walk up to this and read it, if It's not hard to tell people this story because you have the charter, you throw out the charter, you have context, here's who's trying to do what, and here's how. It's very easy to bring people up to speed. When a new person walks in, you can actually just tell them the story. I'll walk into a shop, and I'll see 300 of these. I need to sew that. Does anybody use this style? This is really popular. And so you fill in the blanks. And if you fill in the blanks 300 times, you repeat the sentence 300 times. So the next thing I think happens is how often it'll say, as the business user. As the business user, I need to. 150 times. If you're a developer, that's called a refactoring opportunity. Get rid of all that garbage, and you just replace it all with this. Because this doesn't give any context. Sitting down with someone new and saying, as the business user, I need to. If that person doesn't know, they should say, tell me a little bit about the business user. Why is the business user trying to do that? What's the context? I heard someone say every story should have user, use, and context. I think it was one of the guys from Industrial Logic. Really cool. That's where I took the chartering idea from. That makes a lot of sense. This sentence can be easily replaced with a persona. Here's that person. A story title. And this thing is supposed to represent value over here as a test in my mind. Jen and I were talking about this morning. I said, we have a common friend whose name is Brian Merrick. He's just a total goofball. He's a great guy. His website's called Exemplar.com. And one year at the Agile conference, he went around with these stickers. And when people were having confusing conversations, he'd go put a sticker on them that said, wouldn't this be a good time for an example? And when you ask people for examples, then you can say, is there context? Is there user use and value? User use and context. And that's a simple coaching tool I use all the time. People are stuck. We're starting to have the hypothetical discussion of what the users would do. The users are this amorphous blob that moves around the world simultaneously and interacts with all software because they're on every project. Like users. Saying the users gives people no context. You've missed a lot of kind of what you need. So if we went further in this map, and I said, what are some forms of payment? What do you mean by take payment? What's that? Cash, credit, other things?
Checks.
Coupons.
Cash, credit, coupons, debit, short credit. This is a pretty big list. And what's cool here is, now let's shift. We're just in raw discovery mode. Now we're going to build this thing. When I'm the product owner, you guys are telling me to prioritize. Now I have a cooler tool to make my decisions from. Because I can say, well, I think for the first iteration, I don't necessarily care about tax, but I want to be able to add items, calculate total, take a cash payment, and print a simple receipt. If you would put up a gift receipt, or an instant rebate, or a survey, then for my second iteration, I would have said, okay, now that we can do that, I'd like to add in the scanner and be able to do credit. But I'm trying to build out this whole map. That's why I think what's missing is when people say, I don't understand the stories. The stories don't have enough detail. There's all these tells, as the poker player community calls them, that says, I'm not getting the context I need, and I'm going to keep asking you over and over until you help me. And if I give up, then I'm just going to go code what I think is right. Or, probably we're talking about, like, when I say test here, I mean the story test. So this is my story. This is this whole thing of, like, what down here is the value of the story, and it's expressed in a story test. And this story test should very much fit into this map. It shouldn't be an arbitrary list of things. In fact, it should never, I think avoiding these being steps is a really good idea. To just try and weirdly bring this all together for you, the person that did the presentation with Siemens said they were using fit and fitness. Is anybody else using fit or fitness here? Okay, what are people using for acceptance testing automation? 14,000 of these kind of tests. So it's not unit tests, we have pilot unit tests. When you get big piles of these tests, it's a maintenance effort. Or you could say it's an investment.
How long does it take to run them?
Let me finish and I'll tell you. 'Cause they break them down into groups and they don't run them serial, they run them in parallel. So there's a lot of solutions to optimizing it, but not as fast as unit tests. Right? They're not usually fast. But what's interesting is a lot of people have tons of unit tests that run fast, and then they write these tests that are slow, and it's like, ooh, I don't want to use those, they're slow. Maybe they're slow because your code's slow. They're slow because your system's slow. You should know that. Don't run away from that problem, but I digress. So these guys have this pilot test, and they say, how can we reorganize those tests? I'm probably going to blow up this map. So they also have personas, and they took this idea of a story map, and they organized their tests. There's a set of tests called Getting Started. So you go to buy a router, a wireless router, and 15 years ago when you bought a piece of gear, the manual didn't make much sense. And now what's happened is you get a big one-page sheet with 10 steps that's about, I bought a wireless router, I want to get connected. And that thing walks you through that basic path. They took that same idea with their tests and created, without knowing what a story map is, a set of tests that read like a user manual. So they have a narrative testing tool called fitness. And everybody that shows up, testers, business, developers, if they want to know what the system does, they go to read this set of tests. That's a very optimal way to do things because there's no intermediate documentation. Those tests have two states, they run or they don't. And I started thinking of what they had done because I had introduced personas, and if you look at their tests, their integrated tests read just like this. It's because there's no difference between this and a good, well-written set of integrated tests and a user manual. And now we're starting to kind of bring a whole bunch of stuff together that used to be very disconnected. And that is a very optimal way to work. You don't have to put them into tests, and to just kind of make your heads explode further. They had a bunch of these really well done, but then they realized that doesn't really give us the value. So they created their own persona fixture. So now very cool. All the testing is done based on who is trying to do what, not just what is trying to be done. And when the developers are talking about the stories, this is never out of the picture because this is baked into their integrated testing. It's an exceptional thing. You've only seen it happen kind of in one place. There's a lot of info. Questions, comments, arguments? Three-verse rant. You can stand up and yell if you want.
Because I want to challenge myself in the position I'm having. We are trying to build games.
Yeah.
And usually what we want to do is to provide fun. Well, everybody understands fun, but when they actually play, the things might happen and they're not actually fun.
So why are some games more fun than others?
Exactly, and for whom, and it's hard to make. I mean, I understand everything you said here, and it's pretty if I manage to do that to a game, but I don't think.
Well, then let's talk about games. So, because I think this is really interesting. So I'm kind of more of like an organic, like garlic farmer hippie type, right? So even though I'm a software geek, I don't go home and just geek out. So I only bought like a Wii last year. And I imagine if I put my wife down in front of a Nintendo, she would hate it. She set up the Wii and was playing in 15 minutes. And it's not accidental in any way that product is the way it is. They thought about who are we selling it to? What do they want to do? And I would imagine if you were in a chartering session, they would say, we are not selling this to gamers. We're selling this to the average person that wants to bowl, because a gamer would go bowling. I had bowling games 20 years ago. That's
And the people that are developing the games are gamers, and they hate it. I cannot implement a game I don't believe in. For example, this is the main skill, so you go to them and ask them, okay, provide an idea that you sell, and they will give you the idea that they think.
okay, so that's another good discussion.
It's very hard to make them, it doesn't have to, you don't have to like it. It has to be liked by others.
Yeah, my friend Jeff Adam calls that FUBU, for you, by you. And if you are your market, then you are fully qualified to do this. But if you're not your market, this is a really bad idea. Because you're going to build something that you think is needed. This is why a lot of products I think are not very usable, because the developers bang away at it all the time and figure out how to do some weird, obscure thing. In fact, you know that horrible multi-tab view in Microsoft products? I'm sinking myself here. Clearly, I'm never getting in there.
We can cut it off.
Yeah. When they first built that multi-tab view, there was a little animation, very much like what Apple would do. When you clicked on a tab, it went to show you were switching levels. And I watch people click on the tabs and those dialogues all the time, and they don't know what happened because the tabs restored. And I mean, if you're someone like my mother, I'm not picking on my mother and my wife. My mother understands Greek and Latin, so she's a wise woman, but that's a horrible, horrible user experience. It was taken out because the developers thought it was too slow. Not because they did any market research, and that's how we ended up with that dialogue. And so, a question people ask me is, who should do this? We get asked that all the time. So, the simple vanilla answer, if I were like an Agile geek, I would say, well, the product owner. That's the wrong answer. Or it's an answer that I see very broken often. The people that you need here shouldn't have a role or a title necessarily. You need people that are informed, subject matter experts, people that used to do the job, someone studied it. You need the people that have some vision. Because if all you have is people that know it, it's very easy to build a legacy product of tomorrow. If you're building something, it has to do what this cashier needs to do. But these POS systems used to turn over in the States every 5 to 7 years. Now they turn over every 3 to 5 years. When you're talking about a retailer like Best Buy, number one electronics retailer in the world, 90,000 employees, 1% turnover every day. So those numbers percolate for a second. You've got to understand these people if you want to have good cash experience. You need to kind of go and get to know who those people are. So information, vision, and I think it's good to have someone in the room, like an investor or a decision maker, who says, I know you think about if we could text the space shuttle from our POS, but we're not doing that. You know, backlogs are not supposed to be wish lists. Because if you're going to be the product person, you're going to be that product owner, then you have to be ready to piss some people off. Everyone is not going to love your product. And this one's interesting to me because I'm like a tragic demographic for this thing. I love this phone. And I'm telling you, it's not a very good phone. It's the worst phone I've ever loved. And I love it because it's such a fantastic user experience. Because it absolutely relates to your multiple phone. And you discover all sorts of stuff. Things happen all the time inside this phone. And features show up, and instead of being a drag, they're often it's like, wow, I'm glad it does that. So I'm with this guy in DC. He says, I just got an iPhone and I'm about to start gushing. And I say, what do you think? He goes, it's a piece of crap. I hate it. I've never had a worse phone. I'd like to throw it out the window and run it over on the way home. Dude is not in this market.
Speaking of game mechanics, discoverability is one of them.
What's that?
Speaking of game mechanics, discoverability is one of them.
Discoverability is an excellent term. Yep. That was a long answer to your question, but I think if you just get people in a room, like here's a mistake I see in the Agile community. Who should be involved? Everyone on the team. Really?
Yeah, we
Really?
have tried that.
Why is everyone on the team involved? Maybe it's because everybody on the team has domain knowledge. So like the aerospace groups that I work with, the average lifetime of, or the medical device people, the average lifetime on a lot of those projects is, the average time on the teams is 10 years. Not at the company. Like they've worked on the same product. The people that have worked on that product, the developers and the testers, are the ones that know. They're not necessarily the ones with vision, but they know what that thing does. And in the aerospace industry, those aren't simple problems. They're not point of sale stuff. They're complex and complicated. And so having them in the room is good. Other developers, when you're trying to kind of go a mile wide, inch deep, or we're trying to charter where we should sail, we say, no, we should go down to the bottom of the ocean because that's where the cool rocks are. You know, and it's like, that's not what you want to do. We're trying to kind of get direction. That's why I think the map metaphor is real solid. Correct. Yep. Yeah. Your question was, is this like before release planning? So like little simple trip that I go through with people is like, figure out what your process is going to be. Maybe it's vanilla Scrum, maybe it's a variation, maybe it's just a couple practices. And then start doing some kind of product development, as charting, personas, story maps, and I would do discovery planning, a la release planning, and then kind of delivery planning, a la iteration planning. And every step along the way, I'm asking myself, are we ready to iterate? You know, not just, we have to start iteration now because it's that date. And then that's hard. Some companies don't get that same. When we walk into that first iteration, I'm pretty sure we don't know where we're going, but we go there anyway.
But is story mapping part of the iterations, or do you do it once before everything?
No, well, it depends. So in some situations, how much time do I have?
It's,
5 minutes.
yeah.
Some people do it once, and then they wreck it. They rip it apart. So they'll say, let's build a story map. Obviously, we draw boxes fast, everything becomes an animated. They'll do a story map where this is the goal, and they'll start pulling these things off the wall. Other groups I kind of work with, what's happening now is we'll leave this up, and we'll kind of try and start buffeting out like iterations or releases, and we'll actually duplicate these things. And that's neat for me, that this becomes more of a long-term discovery / discussion vehicle. And this is just a delivery vehicle. This is why we're doing it. This is how we're breaking it down.
Do you create backlog items from, I don't know, based on the discussions, stuff like that?
Yeah, this is their backlog right here. This is in core sprint lingo, Scrum lingo. This is product backlog, this is sprint backlog. The difference is that I would jam everything up in here that are things like startup costs. I might put those down here and say, hey, for this first iteration, 50% of our spend is startup costs. Here's environments in place, having continuous integration, blah, blah, blah. If I'm investing, I hope over time that those startup costs will all come back to the product. Other groups, they're split their iterations into what I would call old stuff, backlog items, new stuff, discoveries, broken stuff, aka DS. If you can tell someone this, if you're an investor, more than 50% of what you're building is going into broken stuff, you should stop investing. It's your official indicator backwards. You have all the clarity behind this, but they don't do that. It's super valuable. It's a simple tool. It's just laying right there. Other questions?